Welcome to Grammar 3K. In this booklet, we will go over functions and parts of speech, prepositional phrases, and sentence diagramming. First, we'll look at the parts of speech and functions of speech. In this book, it's mainly just a review. You'll see a lot of these type of activities where you're finding the subject and the verb phrase, and we'll have you identify a number of other things. In this activity, we're having you circle any adjectives and drawing an arrow to the noun they are modifying. Like I said, on other pages, we may be asking you for other things, so make sure you're paying attention to the details and the directions in these pages. Also notice that we have a series of different types of sentence types. And so what you need to do is make sure that you're writing your own subject for any commands you might find. Like I said, this is review, so we're just going to move on to the new content, which is prepositional phrases. First, let's look at the explanation page up at the front. We have a prepositional phrase, or also known as a PP, is a phrase that starts with the preposition and ends with a noun or pronoun. Below are some examples of prepositions. So as you can see, there's a list of prepositions that we'll be using throughout this booklet and on. So if you ever need to check to see if a word is a preposition or maybe it's something else, this can help you out. A prepositional phrase can be found at the end of a sentence. The prepositional phrase will never include the verb, predicate nominative, predicate adjective, or direct object. Cross out the prepositional phrase to find different functions of speech easily. And below we have a series of examples so you can get familiar with those, but instead we're just going to jump right into it with this video. So here we have a phrase, with my mom. And throughout this booklet we're going to have you work with prepositions and prepositional phrases in a series of ways. So in the first couple of ways that we're going to work with prepositions and prepositional phrases is that we want you to just identify the preposition in the phrase. So with my mom, the preposition is with, so you'll cross out just with. Then we will have you cross out an entire prepositional phrase so that you can understand that with my mom is the complete prepositional phrase that starts with the preposition and it ends with the noun. So we will have you cross out the entire phrase as you see here. Following that, you will be given a prepositional phrase and a sentence. In this example, we have Maurice ran with my mom. Once again, we only want you to cross out the prepositional phrase. Maurice and ran will simply remain untouched. And one of the last activities we're going to have you do is we're going to give you two of the same sentence. So we have Maurice ran with my mom. And the first sentence, you will cross out the prepositional phrase. And then following that, we'll have you cross out the prepositional phrase and identify the subject and the verb. With this activity, what we're trying to get you to do is to understand that once you cross out the prepositional phrase, the subject, verb, and other parts of speech will be very, very obvious to you. And the last couple of pages in this booklet, you will be given the sentence and you identify the subject, the verb, and the prepositional phrase. Now we'll go over sentence diagramming. Sentence diagramming in this booklet is mainly a review. So I'm just going to give you a random sentence that will hopefully remind you of a different type of subject. So here we have the sentence, the brother and sister spoke excitedly. In this sentence, we have a lovely compound subject, brother and sister. Our verb is spoke, which is the past tense of to speak. And then we're just going to go ahead and identify those last three words. We have the, which is an article, a special type of adjective describing brother. We have an adverb that is describing the verb or how they spoke. And then we also have our conjunction, which is connecting our two subjects to each other. Now, since it is a compound subject, it's not going to have the usual straight line bisected with the vertical line. Instead, we get to make a fun little combined shape of a rectangle and triangle so that we have space for both subjects and the conjunction. Then we'll go ahead and make our line to separate the subject and the predicate, and we'll make our line for the verb phrase. And now we just need to make sure that we are identifying that we have an adjective and an adverb, and we can start filling this out. So first we'll fill out our subjects. We have brother and sister. We have the describing brother, so I'll just go ahead and write that. And then we have to put in our conjunction that connects the brother and the sister as the subject. So I'm going to write that inside the triangle. Now we can go ahead and write our verb, which is spoke, and our adverb, which is excitedly. And that is going to be how we diagram the brother and sister spoke excitedly. And that is the gist of Grammar 3K. If you have any questions over this or any other grammar book, go ahead and ask your person who grades your grammar at the center.